Go to page 5 of the green sheets. You can see where we're currently at. We're down to 747 on the countywide, 990 on the rural. So we're still 21 cents above on the countywide and 39 cents above the rural. Last week we did reductions of 79,413, one addition for 4162. So we have made total 471,946 in reductions so far. So we still got ways to go. That's about all.
All right. Oh shoot. Where's my book in the car? So moving on to the county sheriff uniform patrol, page 5.
Should we turn the volume up first?
Yeah, everyone got that? Thank you, sir.
Just return it.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't control that, do you, Pat? Pat, you don't control the volume, do you?
A lot of feedback.
It's pretty hot. I mean, like,
Echo.
you can hold it way out here. It's still. Uniform patrol, page 5.
All right, how do you want to start? You tell me.
Uniform basic all wages, except in that one we do have, what page is that on?
Well, I have page 5, Dennis.
We're gonna fix it here. Okay, on page 5, if you'll notice, the overtime is 80,100. When that's input, it should have been broke down to 32. What is it?
40.
How much in that one?
It's, yep.
Should be 32,000 off that 80,100, put back under page 6. Overtime there. You see there's 0 there. So when you add the two together, it comes 80,100. So in overtime on uniform patrol, that should be 48,100.
$100.
That should be 48,100, taking 32,000 off of the 80,100, and put it back under
6.
investigations.
Right.
So it still equals out.
Just in different categories.
The other major item here is the request on page 5 for 3 new county deputy sheriffs at a total of $254,229.
So if we're going to use uniform patrol, going down, everything pretty much is lined up. Not asking a whole lot. Shift differential changes because of pay raises. The acting sergeant can be reduced. We went from 12,000 to asking 6, but to be honest with you, we could probably reduce it from there, because when you gave us the extra sergeants, that kind of eliminated that, but we wanted a little padding there. I don't know that we need total of 6,000, but we could probably whack off at least 3. I'd hate to go too much farther down, but because there are going to be times when both sergeants can't work. We do try to adjust, but just a little bit of wiggle room, I think, would be a better picture. I think we could drop it to 3 and not really have any huge crisis. You helped us immensely when you gave us the acting. We used that money, so there was no more tax dollars asked. It came from that line.
Do they have a number of days they have to be acting sergeant to get it?
No, that's,
Just any time?
yeah, most places it's
3 days.
40 hours or something, yeah, they just get it.
Okay.
What's field training pay?
Field training pay is our deputies that are, our new recruit deputies are going through field training officer program. And so since we've, had a little bit of turnover, which we always have in the jail, according to the contract, they have to be compensated at a different rate of pay. So I'd say the last couple of years we've had somebody going through field training constantly through the whole year. So, and we anticipate another retirement this year. And, if I'm fortunate to get a position or two, then we would have somebody again in that. So that's where that is.
Personally, I don't feel that we're in the position to add the 3, so I don't believe I'll be supporting that.
How many sworn do you have now?
We have 39 sworn. The county our size, we're quite a bit short. So some of the reasoning of asking for more deputies, and I didn't know this is where it was going to be, I thought it was another day, was when we had met with the attorney representing this, was some of the things that we talked about mitigating some litigation of having civilians do jobs that are really deputy positions. And the intent is always, we want to get our deputies doing the mental and substance abuse and transports, because those are high liability areas. And we try, but then we're short out in the patrolling. So, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and eventually you've got to start adding people, because when something happens and goes south and they're not a certified peace officer, there could be some tremendous issues that could come up. So that along with, a little bit of history here. In the 6 years I've been here, our guys are getting overtime to work a lot of backfilling and things such as that. But what happens is they get to the point where they're stretched enough that they don't want to work overtime, because that's all they're doing is working. So you have suffer from guys basically getting burned out. But yet we still need to have those positions, and we're not in a position to make somebody mandatorily work. I mean, you could, but I'm not sure that's a good way of doing it. So one of the reasons for asking more bodies for the last 6 years is it's needed. And I think we need to get a long-term plan. And I've asked for that ever since I took office. And we need to work towards getting some bodies. Now, if I can get some this year and some over the next couple, then I'd be happy. But no, because no doesn't help the situation that we're in constantly.
Mr. Chair, do you think that overtime could be reduced if you added a position or two? Do you think that there's any overtime that could be reduced by having additional bodies, and is that not really something that could be counted upon?
Some of it could. I don't know if it'd be a huge amount, but there is a possibility. If we were able to get a couple new deputies, they wouldn't be working holidays. Well, they would, but somebody would take the job to do the mental and substance abuse papers, which is pretty much a Monday through Friday job, except patrol picks it up later when those guys are off. But so some of that might help. I don't know how many thousands I could whack off that, but I think there would be some you know, obviously we're gonna have holidays. We have fortunately separated the holiday pay now, and so straight overtime, 48,000. You know, we've gone over most of the time, and I wouldn't be able to promise that. I mean, I just feel uncomfortable. I think we're all in agreement that it's probably a difficult thing, but it is difficult for our staff to continually be stretched to the point that I think we're putting ourselves in a bad situation, and we continually have these issues. And as you see, the difficulty and the mandates put on deputies hasn't been reduced. It's continuing to, with the mental papers and the substance abuse papers, they're through the roof. And we could devote really 2 guys to that all the time.
And do you know if we have numbers that show, sorry, I don't know what I'm getting. Do we have numbers that show our deputies in comparison to population versus other counties? Is that something that maybe if we brought this back?
Right.
We could,
I would gladly do that. Yeah, I think, I know Todd and when Greg was here, they did a number study 4 or 5 years ago. And we were behind, and we still are, but yeah, we could bring that so you have a clearer picture. You know, I think ultimately if we, and I wouldn't expect to get there in a year, I think over a few years, that if we got to, I don't think we need to hire more than 6. So a couple a year would be nice, depending on how far you wanted to stretch it out, would help us. It'd help us immensely. I'd be thrilled with 3. I'd take 2, but nothing just continues to, you know, it just, we kick the can down the road and we're just going to have issues. But yeah, we'd be more happy to come back and show you comparisons of our size and how we can do it. Would you agree? Yes.
Mr. Chair. You're 39 sworn. Is that everybody but you?
Everybody but me, right. And so you understand, I mean, and we've always, it's kind of been the history here, our guys do multiple jobs. And we're not going to be ever so big that there's one guy that just can be doing that one thing. We understand that completely. But we really have stretched our leadership team to doing a lot of work, and they've done a great job. But I think some of the things, constantly keeping up our policy manual, we're thankful that you guys, we went to this Lexapool deal. That's a group of attorneys that help review our policy. That's we paid $23,000. You guys were gracious enough to pass that. That's going to help our guy. Instead of him having to do everything, he kind of sends it, they review it, send it back. So those are things that have been very helpful.
We need to do any mic checks or anything?
You're sounding much better, though. I can the feedback.
I have to agree with you, Dave. I think a long-range plan is overdue. That's what we should be looking at.
And Marty, I think everybody's been here. I just said if we could have a 3 to 5 year plan, how we can get to that. At least there'd be light at the end of the tunnel. And that's kind of a direction I'd like to see us go. So that, I mean, there's uniform patrol. Some more questions. I guess my second page here on this is just mainly salaries and overtime. Not seeing anything glaring. I can go to invest.
We got to do one at a time, but the first 2 he's got, patrol and investigations, basic salary rate. Not a whole lot we can do with it. Except one item. If you want, you can defer that to we'll wrap up.
Go ahead.
So my question is, procedurally, are we looking to defer that improvement request to later and revisit it, or?
Well, like all of them, I'd take out now myself, so I don't know. But we're bored, so whatever you guys all want to do, so.
I know on the one, we kept it in and said we'll come back later, so I didn't.
But I would like to see the report we asked him for numbers from other counties and whatnot. And I mean, I don't care if we leave it in or out as long as we look at it at wrap-up, so.
I think it's unfortunate we've been a little inconsistent in this, and, you know, you even expected to discuss it later.
I did, yeah.
So I'd like to see it taken out. If we put it back in, that's fine.
And I'm good with that as long as we can bring it back up.
Right, and that should be where improvement requests are, in my opinion.
All right, I thought that's when we were doing it.
Yeah, we were under the impression that improvement requests were going to take place in 2 weeks.
That's on the agenda, that was 2 weeks from now.
It was 2 weeks, but we've added it in, so we've been handling as we go through each budget.
We haven't been adding it in each time. We've been adding
We've just
some
been
in and taking
receiving,
some out. Yes.
Right,
Budget,
that's,
either leave it in or take it out.
that's the effect of not having them all at the end. It's,
But if you don't have them in, you don't have a clue where we're at with our tax asking either. Because right now, they're all in, shows we got tax increase. So we have to get, well, we don't have to, we have tax increase, but the desire, I thought, was to get it back down. So you gotta know your upper end and gradually whittle this thing down. And if you get down where you're at, then if you want to come back and add it in, you know, it's an increase.
Any thought to taking off one of the deputies and leaving it at 2 and running with that? I mean, the sheriff said he'd like 3, but he also looking at a 3 to 5 year long range plan too. I'd like to see it left in because, like Dennis says, that gives us a better idea of what we're really asking. I don't like those last minute surprises of adding it back in the last week or two, and then we're staring at it and jumping back and forth.
well, in the past, if we consider it at the end, it's still in the budget. It's just the improvement request portion. So they're all still in. We just discuss them at the end.
Conservation, well, yeah, in his case, conservation you took out.
Yeah, we took them out.
Emergency service you left in. So this is the third one here.
But they're reflected in the tax rate no matter when we discuss them. That's my point.
Absolutely. And they're reflected in the chart I give you each week too.
Right.
What did we do with WCICC?
That's on hold till the city council.
But what did we do with, as far as effect to the tax rate?
WCACC, that's 51,000.
Yeah, but we left it in, didn't
We
we?
left it in.
Yeah.
Yep. Contingent on that side.
Well, we still hadn't really voted whether or not we wanted that either.
Right. It's on my list as wrap-up.
Just for his running tally now, it's in there, so we.
Right. It's in there, it's the worst case scenario.
It's going to be a busy wrap-up.
Well, if there's questions, I would suggest we leave it in till you do the wrap-up. And see where we're at, if that's what you want to do.
Because we don't vote on it all till we're done, so. Well, I would move we receive it with it in and we bring it back up at wrap-up.
Second.
So motion by Potabom and second by DeWitt to receive as is for now. All those in favor, or any other discussion, I guess? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay.
Nay.
That passes 4-1 to receive. We'll move on to invest.
So that was as submitted, right, Dennis?
Yeah,
There's a
receive
new-
as-
With $3,000
There is a 3,000
$3,000
reduction.
reduction
Yeah.
in the one pay activity.
That was in your motion?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
With the yes, it was in the motion.
Good job.
Investigations then.
Invest is pretty much the same. We have standby pay. It's a contractual deal.
What's going on? They were talking about it at the beginning.
Very little bit in field training because they only spend a week in invest.
Mike's okay at this point, or?
I can hear great.
Sounds like they've improved.
Yeah, much better.
All right, I got you
Andy
that
is
right.
top notch. And a lot of it's is just FICA and hypers. And
But for your investigators, standby pay, looking at 17 and 18 actuals, and then look at 89.43 for this year.
We also have your organized employees down by 108,000.
You'll see differences in his uniform patrol investigations, where his deputies are involved because he does switch them around to different areas. So they try to get them as close as they can each year. So you'll see fluctuations between those three departments. Between uniform patrol, rural investigations, rural basic uniform patrol, sometimes jailers and civil court security, because they shift people around. That's just a continuing thing, happens every year. Their total number of authorized is all the same.
right.
Yeah.
With the exception of the jailers, they went from 49 to 50 this current year. The 50th one was not budgeted, but that's budgeted for this coming year. But the board did add one jailer, I believe, from 49 to 50, according to HR. Then he's got another request, but that is coming down the road here. So you see fluctuations in the overall organized employees, deputies. All that will be shifted back and forth, but the total number is the same.
I'd move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by DeWitt to receive the investigations budget. All those in favor? Or any other discussion first? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to Drug Task Force, federal reimbursement, page 7 to 8.
It's just money for our task force. DEA pays for him and his overtime. Every year they give set amount, and it's there. If he exceeds it, we pick up the tab, and it depends on how the investigations are going. We're pretty much on same amount, might be a little bit over. It just depends on the complexity of the investigations, but most of the time it's right in there.
Second, motion to receive by Taylor. I'll give second to Potabom to receive the Drug Task Force. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to Correctional Facility, LEC, page 9 through 11.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's the revenue.
Yeah. We want to do the revenue part?
Yeah, because it went down a little bit, but not
Right.
much.
So those numbers sometimes, it fluctuates by how full our jail is. Right now, we're at maximum capacity. So that means we tell the marshals we're full and there would be no revenue. So those numbers always fluctuate by the inmate population. I think last summer we were running pretty good, and then all of a sudden it exploded. And we're at that exploding stage right now, hoping somehow to get those numbers back down. We've done a lot of good things to help us with that. The state comes every couple of weeks, takes a load to prison. It's something that Lieutenant Harlow has been working on and got worked out. So in other words, when they get sentenced, instead of being here for another month or two, the state's been coming and getting them out, get them sent to their receiving center in Oakdale, which has been very helpful. It opens up. But right now, to be very honest with you, we have people that are in jail that we don't want out on the street. I mean, that's 230 solid people that belong in jail. Years ago, you could always find 30 or 40 that you could, okay, I don't think there's a risk. These are 230 people that belong in jail. So that becomes a very difficult situation for a lot of reasons. One is segregation of inmates. You have to be able to have the ability to move them from a group, because one might be testifying, or two or three might be testifying against another. So the county attorney or the U.S. attorney doesn't want them people together. The defense attorneys don't want them together. So, we're running out of places to put people. And when you get 230 inmates in there, our staff is tasked with a lot of issues that arise versus having 180, 190 in there. We have too big of pods. There's too many in sections, and then we end up having disturbances. So that's what we're facing today, and I think our staff has done a great job trying their best to put out all the small fires that continue to happen. I mean, it could be over breakfast, it could be over a game, but who knows what fires people up. We're hoping fresh air helps when we get to that point.
Keith?
Yes.
I guess I got one question here on the revenue, because I keep thinking about this stuff. Building of prisoners went down 40,000. Then we have room and board of prisoners, stayed the same at 175,000. Then if you skip back to page 26, I hate to skip back, but we have room and board of prisoners, 80,000 there, and this is where the board agreed to take the room and board of prisoners back to this other fund,
Right.
used for the purposes stated by the quote.
Right.
Is this 80,000 embedded also up here? Do we have this doubled up by chance?
You see,
I just got to think about it. We got room and board here, we only dropped 40,000. Yeah, we're increasing 80,000 up here. I just want to make sure we don't have this doubled up, because this causes a problem.
right.
Can you explain what the billing of prisoners is?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out billing.
I'm not really sure, because we've always had this line item for the last 15 years.
Lieutenant Harlow does the room and board, and that's all he bills is the room and board. We don't, I mean, that is the billing to the prisoners. So.
You know, billing, is that where we are paid back by the state for prisoners we're keeping here?
DOC, that could be part of it, but now that.
I can tell you here in a minute, it
But
could be.
I can tell you that that fund's gonna be way down because of what the state's doing with the bus. It's helping us out and not having people in our facility, but we're not also getting to charge the state longer because they're in our facility. They're coming to get them and taking them out faster.
Okay, for billing of prisoners, we're getting checks from, in a minute here. Just give examples here. State of Iowa.
Yeah.
State of Iowa.
That's what it is.
State of Iowa. Okay.
So it's,
That's gonna go way down because of the bus.
right, it's one of them deals where, yeah, it was good to get revenue, but it's better to get them out.
Okay,
So,
then the room and board, we have 175,000, then 175,000 for the next year. But then we have 80,000 back here under that other fund. So is that 80,000 embedded in this 175,000? That'd be my question. Then we got doubled up the revenue, which means we have to take 80,000 off, which means additional,
Well, what's coming into that other fund?
okay?
I mean, are they the same
That,
checks and
I-
amounts or something else?
Yeah, we don't control a penny that comes into that fund. Lieutenant will bill everybody, but if they decide not to pay, well, then it's just a civil matter.
Okay.
And we're getting a lot of judicial part now too. They're saying, hey, these people can't afford to pay that. They don't have to. We don't control if we get a penny out of that.
Okay, bill is all coming from, okay, then if we go to this other fund here, which is 009, whoops, sorry, gotta go on one more. 019, or no, I'm sorry. 009, 1051. Okay, these prisoners here, still not getting the right one. I don't know why. I just want to make sure these are from the jail too. Okay, room and board here. These here are coming from the county sheriff too. So my question is the room and board, the 175,000 here that's under the jail, which stayed the same as the current year, then we have 80,000 additional here over in the other fund. Should all that 175,000 be going to the jail or the special fund? Which shouldn't cause a problem here, because that's 175,000 less revenue.
I thought we said 60-40. You guys were gonna keep 60 and 40 was gonna be in the in that fund you guys created that can keep growing year after year.
I think you're right there.
Yeah.
I agree, so there'll be some money going in, but we're going to a pace of 74,000, which is 150,000 a year, and we're increasing the room and board to 255,000, which we aren't attaining unless we're getting a lot more, prisoner paying.
That's your projection or somebody projecting, we don't know.
Well, these are numbers put in by, well, the 80,000, I put that in because that's money going in, but is that doubled up in that 175?
Where are you referencing 80,000, Dennis?
Okay, on
No-
page 26, which is that new fund ruin board. That's where the 40% goes. So I guess if we know the number that is actually room and board projected by Harlow, whoever, and take 40% of the number we should have here, then 60% of the number we should have here. But I don't think it's gonna make 255,000. We've, one year we had 183, one year we had 309,000, this year we're at 74,000 halfway through the year. But some money has been deposited over 36,000, so you're at 110,000.
Well, just looking at it, that 175 and 80, that looks like a 60/40 right there,
That's what I'm thinking.
Right,
instead of having it,
right. So it should be doubled up. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't doubled up. So then come down later, we're short of revenue at general basic.
My opinion is there's only one way to know that, and to go back through here and see who the payer is here and line it up and see. It's probably not a question for the board,
Right.
but it's something I think that you could maybe investigate offline and then come back and let us know.
Okay.
You said both of them were coming from the jail.
Jail, yes. And 60-40 split would be about right. About right.
I mean,
I'll get with Harlow.
It would just be
Make sure
Harlow
it's-
where he's putting it.
Yes.
We're, one check, we don't have an account anymore, it's going right over there, and somebody over across the street's putting it 60/40. Every penny lieutenant collects from room and board comes across the street, and then we're hoping it goes 60/40 here.
I don't know, somebody's gotta be putting it in both.
That'd be up to
hands.
the treasurer's office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll check with that. I'm putting it down as a note here to check.
Okay.
Very good.
Alrighty, so that's on the updated revenue part. It's as clear as mud, I'm sure. You see electronic monitoring fees. We try to get, I don't have the stat today. Do you know how many are electronic monitoring today? 20, 18? So that's roughly about how many people we have on electronic monitoring. Those are the ones that we believe qualify to be on electronic monitoring and not in jail. So those numbers are pretty much the same. Work release is pretty consistent. Sometimes the biggest issue on work release is if they pass the drug test, So commissary money is commissary. We all know that is where it
Separate
goes.
fund on that.
Yeah.
And that's further back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. If you want to go, I don't know how your pages are, but if we go like to
Starting
food, we can go here where our meal expenses.
That'd be on page 11. Top of page 11.
Yeah, jail operating. It's probably what you want to look at, all these things.
The wages and everything, again, is set by HR and our payroll department. They go through all the contracts, everything to make sure we got the right amount in. The overtime basically is figured by the sheriff's office. And that, the overtime hours same, obviously it's going to go up every year because of pay differentials.
Now, kind of to bring you up to date, on the ACH, Major Wingert said that probably sometime in February or March, middle of February, we should be getting a check back from them on the savings, the money that we didn't spend in that pool. We don't know that yet, so that will be, I don't know, how much was it last year?
And they said, last time I checked that from a couple months ago, they said it's running about the same.
So you'll get that money back, put into, I don't know how you do it, so I
these were the current year in the reserves, but if we anticipate 80,000 a year potentially, if it's been 2 years, we don't have 80,000 revenue coming back in for next year. That's always an unknown factor, but it's been 2 years in a row at 80. Odds are it could be 80. And then I could add back in.
As soon as you say that, though, I'll get a year where I'll just blow it out with water,
Yeah.
and then you guys will be expecting 80, and I give you back 10. You know, I understand what Dennis is trying to do. That just scares me. Is if my staff and the county attorney and the public defenders are really working hard to get inmates with health issues out of our facility, but we have a few in there now that crank are so severe, we just have to eat it.
Yeah, so we have somebody in now that has to have dialysis every day. And it's not somebody that can be signed out. So, you know, you get one or two of those, or you get somebody with the medical issues where, you know, unfortunately, as taxpayers, we're stuck paying those.
I don't think anybody on the board would hold you all responsible for that. I think, though, we do want to try to take and project some revenue, because otherwise it's just going to be over and above reserves, or we're going to be eating out of reserves
Right.
if we're wrong. So,
And we can come back, Dennis, what, in May and have a budget amendment difference, right? So,
For the current year.
right.
What
But I
I'm
know
trying to do
for
is project 80,000 of next year.
because that's where we've landed the last couple of years, you're saying,
Do
right?
we need revenue or reduction in expenses or improvements to get us to balance out? So this is one place we could pick up 80.
However you can jingle it.
Sheriff, on 1190 on the bottom of page 10, the improvement request for $66,488. That's the correctional officer?
Oh, right. Yep. So our, and Tony's best at this, but our teams are 14, 14, and 14, if I'm right, Tony? Our jail teams? Are they?
3, 14, 113.
Yeah, so 14 on each team, but we have one that is 13. I'd like to get that body so the others aren't paying the overtime and covering that. 14 makes up each team. They work 12-hour shifts, so when one isn't, the other is. And so we're always short on that one. And then you factor in if you're short one, and then there's vacation and sick time, and we don't want to get below our minimum staffing that's in the jail. So we're constantly staying up to speed.
And does that have any effect again on the overtime, that if you were to add that one, you're not trying to back?
Well, that would somewhat.
One body's
Yeah, it's not a lifesaver, but I mean, you could see some, yeah. Because we're paying overtime when that person's not there, so. I don't know how many thousands of dollars, but it's not gonna catch to 66,488. I mean, I'm not gonna sell you that one.
What is your minimum staffing?
We're at 10.
10?
Our patrol is 3, and it's the same issue that the sheriff just talked about. So it's the same thing. Trying to staff. Keep them in the staff.
Yeah.
And for the supervisors that sat in a couple of years ago on our renovation meetings, this is not this board's doing, it's just years past that there, you know, no financial raises, they will give them incentives of vacations and more comp time. And fortunately, we have our employee population serves in the military, so we have a lot of military service being done. So that's things that take away from my staffing. And I know through union talks, when I was in the union, we would lose an arbitration if I tried to deny the time off when I only have 14 people on, minimum staffing's 10, and 4 people are off and a 5th person wants it off. I have to give it to them off if they give me enough time. Until you get up to almost half your staff working, you lose that arbitration. So with all the accrued time that my staff has, they take the time, it makes us short. And so we're always playing that catch up to get them enough people on the floor that it's safe for them, the area for them to work in.
And that kind of goes back to, I'm sure what Todd was going to talk about for patrol. You know, we just switched again to try to get our staffing numbers to cover those things better.
And I'll present staffings just have reports to you to give you an idea as to how far behind we are. I think it's going to shock you.
So anything else on there that you see as far as, I would say field training pay, we are constantly hiring in the jail, if you see inside of this paper. Our guys have been getting hired by the police department, state patrol, South Dakota prison. I mean, we've kind of become a training ground, and it's nothing more than some want to make corrections a career and some use it as a stepping stone. I don't blame them either way. It's tremendous experience. I think if anybody wants to start in law enforcement, one of the better places to learn the job is right there in the jail. Learn a lot about people. But I would like to thank Michelle and Dennis to get finally, after all these years of me harping, the overtime in one category and the holiday in one category, so you have a truer picture of what we're doing. Holidays contractual, overtime I control. So holiday overtime next year, so far this year, and that's not updated because we had Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, and Martin Luther King. So that's going to significantly raise the number that you see, or at least on my part it says not updated. I don't know if you have that updated version. But we do our very best to stay within that. Sometimes some of it's out of our control, such as if we have somebody at the hospital and that's around the clock, we're not really budgeted for that, so that becomes the overtime issue. Or, our transport division's pretty slim, and they have court. We have to bring somebody in overtime to take somebody to the hospital for their doctor appointment, dentist appointment. I will say the nice part of ACH is they've helped us out on some of the dental things. Some of that can be handled when they get out. So a lot of that is medicine is given there.
Overall, the overtime issue isn't as much of an issue now.
Not when you're able to see how it is, right.
Right.
The only issue I have with the overtime is I'm starting to get worried about my staff. I'm getting more and more people to say no to the overtime because they're working so much that they're decided, I gotta have time for my family. So now I'm scrambling to find bodies.
So, yeah, and we've, in the jail, so they work 12-hour shifts. So you work 12-hour shifts, it's hard to sell the next guy to come in. He can't work the whole shift, but even 6 hours. It's an 18-hour day. It's a long day. Or they come in on their own time. And it just becomes, I think to the point, in all honesty, they just want to be off. Hey, the overtime was good, but to the point where, listen, I got to be home once in a while too.
Is 6 hours the only other option, or is it whatever you can get?
It depends on, so what we do is it's one of those guesses too. It depends on the busyness of that day, which is hard to predict. But daytime is very busy because courts, lawyers, food, and all those other things. Nights, yeah, we can probably scramble a little bit, but then if we get busy with a lot of bookings, we want to make sure we're still doing that. So it's we do our very best to try to make sure the overtime's controlled, yet we have to be able to make sure we're staying up to what the state requires us to do.
It's a necessary evil. We've got issues with trying to cover shifts. We've got issues. We've got to pay overtime to get our people properly trained. And just recently with contract negotiations, we spent a lot of time talking about sergeants that are working so much overtime, they're passing up our lieutenants in pay. That leads to burnout that we just talked about. When you start working guys that much, just to cover and make sure that we're taking care of the sheriff's office internally so that we aren't subject to litigation. We have better oversight, all those things. More bodies would significantly help that problem.
The sergeants do a wonderful job of juggling it And in the meantime, maybe we drop below 10 on the overnight shifts. If they, they got through the bar closing time and the bookings have slowed down, they're like, okay, we're gonna send, thank you for working the overtime, means I don't need you for the rest of the hours. And then we just hope, and then if something happens, we gotta call somebody else back in. But a lot of it is, they'll work half shift, somebody else will work half shift, but if we got the dialysis, we got a trial, somebody will come in and do 2-3 hours and then go to work for their 12-hour shifts, and it's just becoming harder and harder to convince people, I just need you for a couple hours. It's their day off now, like they just worked overtime the day before, they're like, I can't. And that's what we're running up against.
We're even running into the same problem right now with courthouse security with people that are out trying to find people that are qualified to work the position, get them in there, get them trained. And then once everything's back to normal, then you got to still provide those people with hours. It's difficult. Talking about what I'm talking about right now, courthouse security, just that division by itself.
Think of anything else here in the jail? It was somewhere, Dennis helped me, where our food budget is.
That'd be on top page 11. Second page of the jail budget.
You know the number? I think I got a number.
2301.
Yeah.
Next page.
Oh, right here. Okay. That's all dependent on, obviously, the inmates that we have. We budgeted 371, 123, and it came in 416, 468, 380 for 19, and it's not up to date, but we're 155.
What is it
Up to date, you're 195,947. That includes January, or your payments you make in January, that's 7 months.
Okay.
And I just signed the yearly addendum to that contract. That's part of the contract where their prices go up by that consumer price index. It's just built into the contract right there.
What was the CPI for food this last year?
Off the top of my head, I can find out for you, Keith, but I don't.
I'll check real
Maybe
quick.
3 or 4%? So
Well, sometimes they're 5 or 8%. So.
I don't think it's going up that high.
So on that, Dennis, we're about halfway through the year and about halfway spent on.
We're doing pretty good.
Halfway would have been about 170,000. So it'd be 340 if you doubled it. But again, it depends on where their population is.
Right. Right now, we're really busy. We're hoping it changes. We weren't when the fiscal year started. School of instruction, it's important for training. Now with the new facility, we're hoping to get some training at our place to help. Maintenance contracts are some of the things that we purchased, and we have to have those contracts. Scanner. I don't know what else is in there besides the scanner. We have a big contract on you. Yeah, they all add up. Fingerprint machine, could be the body cameras and some of those things. That's.
Yeah, some of that would be cloud for the body camera.
And our licenses for the cell cameras, suction cameras.
So, and then, yes.
Dave, on 2950, that's where we pay the ACH, correct?
2915.
That's health services
Yep.
systems.
Right.
Okay, that went up 51,000 from the current year. Is that a signed contract where there's inflation every year on it, or why did it go up 51,000? I guess.
Yeah, it's a contract that you guys signed. Don't know that I may sign it along with someone from the board. It was discussed, it should have been discussed last year.
Is that what it is, a 3-year?
This is year 2 though, right? Yeah. I think the first year, second year, I think they went out as, if I can remember that contract. Obviously it did, but I know that we get money back, so I don't know how you, that's what I said, I don't know how you guys figure that out.
No, that's, when we get done with this budget here, that's one of 2 questions I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
Looked like 1.8 on the CPI for food.
1.8? I'd like to see if we could reduce that down by 20,000. The food down to 400.
400? Well, and I mean, this, we can, but we still gotta feed them.
Right.
But I
No,
can, yeah.
don't let them know that the
I'm
food's
not gonna-
running out.
I'm not gonna not feed them because
Right.
I don't need to be in the other courtroom, so. No, not going there.
Diets.
Beans and rice.
Cornbread. Cornbread,
Sorry.
sir.
Yeah.
I'm just looking if we double it right now, we're at 390 and added up 1 or 2%. I know we're,
If you add about 2%, that's under 8,000.
If you take the 24,000 off the 195, you're down to 170 for half a year. So you double, it's 340. So potentially, maybe 400. Minus 20, be 400 after 20.
Hopefully this dialysis guy doesn't eat a lot too. Huh?
I was looking at the fiscal year 18 actuals was 416.
but on either side of it was 370.
Yeah, I know that.
380, so maybe averaging will be all right.
I'm guessing it has to do with how many people you have in the jail.
Right.
Right. You ran big numbers there. This year's gonna be heavy too, because our population is
Up.
high.
Well, you gotta.
I'd
cut
rather
somewhere.
keep that where it's at, the food side.
That's what we have cash reserves for. If it does run that high, at least if you take 20 off, we aren't taxing for it. If it does go over, Dave's gonna have to come back or have to dip in reserves. It's a risk you're taking.
Do you mean, Mr. Chair, keeping it at
Keeping it at
380
the
or 420?
Keeping it at the 420. I mean, if you project off last year's actuals with a 1.8% increase, you're actually at 422,000. Doing math in my head.
No, if last year's actuals were 380 and you had 1 point.
FY18 actuals 416, 468.
Oh, okay.
Are you going off FY19?
Yeah.
Going FY19.
But we don't have
Yeah.
that number yet.
FY19, we'd be at what, 390? If you project out what the first 6 months have been?
$400 or 420? Tell me I'm right.
I like to think we go back to FY17 because we can average to, Supervisor Taylor's point, the last 3, at least from that perspective.
If I'm going to take anything off, I just didn't take it off their food.
I don't get that lucky. We're still going to pay for it. And our guys don't get to eat it, so. Nor do they want to. It's just because they're fit. Didn't mean any other
Dave, how about equipment maintenance
way.
on,
Carbohydrates.
Good clarification.
equipment maintenance on 4420?
Yep. Oh, let's see. I got.
We spent about 793 this past year so far, and just looking at some of the prior years, I know you spent a good deal, but what does that cover? Do we know?
I don't know if that is our, shopping machine goes down.
That's what my guess would be. Some of that is some of the office stuff that is in there.
What about the x-ray machine thing?
That, we have a warranty
Yep.
on that for the first 5 years.
That's not under that.
No,
That would be under the contract.
the maintenance contract.
That's under contractual.
That, I mean, 4420.
There's still 793 currently fiscal year.
3,200, 6991,000, 793. we spent, is what you're saying?
Yeah, for the current year, here at 792.
7 months, you're at
Budget
793.
is 1,000.
And they're going to 7,000. Is there anything you pay later in the year, Dave?
That is glaring.
Could you live with 4 or 5? I mean, just kind of take an average of the, I know,
Oh, let's try 4.
So cut 3,000 out of it.
Yeah.
Is it possible, staffing-wise, to do a part-time where they're doing 2 12-hour shifts a week? Okay.
That would have to be something that we would, propose, but I like an idea.
I just
Here's the-
didn't know.
I will tell you that talking with somebody recently that was part-time, and the problem was part-time pay isn't enough for a guy to be, they're looking for money to live on. So you can't work when you need him from, 7 at night till 2 in the morning or whatever, because he's got to get up at 8. So listening and talking to different people, the part-time concept is, though it may be nice, it becomes a nightmare because nobody, it was Comm Center. Comm Center was dealing with people that were part-time, and because they're 24/7.
But they also have another part-time job someplace else that might interfere.
Yes, right, and so that became the issue.
So they're not available when you need them.
Because I thought, man, this would be a great way to do it. But speaking with Comm Center, they were like, no, here's the issue.
Well, what's the wage scale? Is it 20?
Oh, it's good. It's good, but people are looking,
Sure.
people want full-time wages, so it's hard.
Dave, on the office equipment and furniture, is there, I know you spent 235 this year, and looks like the year before didn't spend anything, but had spent 4,700. And 17, are you anticipating some office equipment and furniture, or could that go down a bit, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
We went shopping in the basement, because that's where we always started, and we found a couple new desks just last week, so, yeah, if you guys want to take a couple grand out of that.
You go 2,500 real case, since we found basement bargains here at the county courthouse.
Yeah. That's where we're used to shopping, so that's.
We like the desk you
Yeah.
Well, for the
Get it out of here.
It's a bargain basement deal.
sake of time, I know we got a lot more budget, and we got about 30 minutes. I'd propose to, I'd move that we took 20,500 off, 15,000 in food, 3,000 in equipment maintenance, and 2,500 in office equipment.
Where
That didn't add up, did it?
that 20,000
6,500 and,
20,500.
off of food?
20,500.
15,000 in food, 3,000 in equipment maintenance, and 2,500 in office equipment.
Three items. Okay.
I think it strikes a balance. If that's,
What do you want to do with the improvement request?
I think the same thing we did with the previous one, I'd include.
Wrap up then?
Yeah.
Okay, already got it down for wrap up.
So,
So it's staying in for now.
motion by Taylor, second by Raddick. Any further discussion?
And same thing, Dave, I just think we should bring this back.
I do.
That's,
I agree.
that's the purpose of my wanting to remove it now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
All right, passes 4-1. Moving on to administration, number.
Do you want me to add 80,000 revenue from the medical reimbursement or do nothing with it?
What would you guys determine on that?
Well, we get 80,000 last 2 years. Do we want to take the risk, put 80,000 revenue in for next year?
I think we should.
We got to find revenue or cut expenses somewhere. And yes,
Was that
we're
under-
rolling the dice. If we
Probably
don't get
pretty-
80,000 in, then we got to take it out of reserves or find more money somewhere else.
It's been consistent.
You've done it 2 years, I'd put it in and we'll just see what happens.
Right.
So we'll add 80,000 revenue in, okay.
Need a motion for that? I would move to add 80,000 in revenue from ACH overage.
Second.
All right, motion by Taylor, second by Ung. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, now moving on to administration, item 5, page 12 through 14. Matthew was.
Yeah, that's revenues, and that's pretty standard there.
Well, all but, so you understand, we were taking in on gun permits, 31,000 on cards, but the state decided to do their usual. And they thought, God, we can make that money. So they took it from us. So we don't get that anymore. We used to make the cards and their picture was on it. Now it all goes to the state. They give them a hard card without a picture. Go figure. But that's progress. So, yeah, we lost 31,000 there from that, which was disappointing because that was a great thing for us.
They could have made you keep issuing them and them take the money, so be careful.
Yeah, well, they pretty much do.
We still have to do the work.
Yeah, we just send them, we don't get it. So, go ahead, Dennis.
Do we get any money back from mental health transport? It used to be Sioux Rivers reimburses us when we transport people for mental health. Has that dwindled down to basically nothing? Because I see our revenue's down 21,000.
You know, they're
Top line on your revenue. That's usually where, it'd be this one here, 26. And usually that's where the mental health, Sioux Rivers or whatever reason that we haul their people up for mental health, they reimburse us.
yeah, we're not getting anything.
So it must be, we aren't doing much or anything, okay. Okay.
Dave, on office supplies, 2601. You spent about
Yep. got it.
12,411 so far, and just kind of averaging the prior years. Do you think you could live with 30,000 in that, or?
Yes. $30.
6,000.
The ammo part, just to bring you up to speed, under 2935, shows only 1,400, but what we do is wait till we can find the bargain basement lowest price, and now we know we have that guy. So we're waiting for a sale, and then we buy it all at once, all our ammo at once.
That includes reserves too, doesn't it, that line?
Yeah.
For ammo?
Yeah. Wearing and safety apparel is usually pretty consistent. It depends on how many hires, vests, outer cover, uniforms, pretty much the same.
The other office equipment and furniture, 6360 on page 14. It's at 1941 so far. You have 7,500 in there. You had 73, 77 and 2 years ago.
What was the last four?
6360. Is that similar to the basement targeting there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not anticipating anything. Are you, Todd?
No, if you recall, in 18, you took it away from us.
Okay.
And we had 7,500 in there previously and spent 73. Right now, we're only at 2. I don't anticipate having,
I don't think of anything, so I know three is fine.
So I'd move to receive minus 10,500. Yeah.
One more item.
Oh, sorry.
Motor vehicle number 4440.
4440, yep.
We're keeping our cars pretty much updated now.
Yep.
They're on a system now. They spent 68,000, went down to 61, now they're 26. Can add 85 be cut?
Yeah,
20,000.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah, I think it's doable.
Bring it down to 60.
I talked to Todd earlier. Is it that high? Do you want to cut or not?
As long as we can continue to replace these cars with, I mean, because we were in a situation before where we were driving cars with 150,000
And
miles.
they haven't touched your cars, they're leaving
No,
a
okay,
30
yeah.
in there.
Then we're good.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
They would say this, we've been, and Todd and Don Groves have done a great job as, on our vehicles. Our trucks get tremendous trading, so that's helped us. And our vehicle maintenance, so it's down to, 65,000 is perfect.
I said 60.
Oh, Dennis, you're going crazy there. But whatever, I'm only, I'm only guy saying it. You have to sell, I have to sell it to these guys. I'd be willing to say 20,000 less,
That's what I wrote down.
cost of things.
So I'd move to receive minus 30,500.
Second.
All right, so it's been motioned by Taylor, second by Ung. Any other comments on this? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes 5-0.
Civil's quick, nothing, really. I mean, it's just
Move to receive.
contract with salaries.
In there now. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I wish.
That's-
GTSBs, our highway safety grant, that's when guys work, the state gives us X amount of dollars a year, and they pay for the overtime to work some of those projects.
I'll just go ahead and move it.
Yeah,
Move to
good.
receive it.
Second.
On that one there, we increased the revenue by 6,350, because I got some from Jennifer saying you can increase the revenue, so we move that up $6,350 on the revenue.
Where's the revenue side on page 15?
Page 16.
16.
Did we,
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Chair, did we have a,
Civil's 15.
Mr. Taylor made a motion and we didn't get a second, and then also there was another one.
I will second Mr. Taylor's.
Civil Division's page 15, it says.
I would remove the civil division. If Mr.
Second.
Ung will second.
Civil is 15. We never had a vote on that.
No,
There's no income in Civil Division.
No,
Okay, so
right.
motion by Taylor, second by Ung. Any other on Civil, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to Highway Safety, page 7, or excuse me, item 7, 16 through 17
And
pages.
16 is where you increase the revenue 6,350.
So increased revenue here
I'll move to receive,
Second.
with the increase,
yes, as presented.
with the increase in,
Dennis, is it
Yes,
as submitted, or is there an additional link
It's additional
Okay.
6,350 revenue, which is what we need.
with that addition? then?
Yes, thank
all
you.
right, so that was motion by Ung, second by Taylor to receive with the additional revenue. Any other discussion?
Well, I have to take that back too, because the revenue needs to show up as an expenditure also. She did not have the 6,350 under office equipment on the next page, 17. I have to keep flipping through here, 'cause I have my notes. So the 6,350 increase in revenue is being offset by office equipment that she left out and wanted to put back in, so it's a wash. But we do have to increase her budget 6,350 also.
so highway safety grant is as submitted.
With the additional revenue and expenditure of 6,350.
Right, as submitted. That's
All right.
what we care about, it's about.
Right, but she did not have that in there, so what they have shows a short 6,350.
So,
So she didn't submit it correctly. She missed 6,350. We gotta get put in there. Okay.
oh,
all right, so,
it's our camera for the coach.
Which is revenue addition, the expenditure addition, which wasn't in our budget book, so it's,
Yes,
you have to add those in there.
all right, so
That was
because they will
submitted.
reimburse with the grant money. We purchase it upfront, submit the claim,
They pay us back.
reimbursed.
But it's still a wash, right? Dennis?
Yeah, still wash.
It's just getting the money in there that wasn't in there before.
So re-clarified.
Clarify.
So we're-
We're adding the revenue, but we're offsetting with that addition.
with,
So, in layman's term, we want to buy a camera, so we go buy it, and they pay us back with the same amount.
So it's a wash.
Yeah.
Equipment will be right
We all say it together.
We just purchased it, we haven't been invoiced for it yet, so therefore it hasn't.
It just wasn't submitted in the original, we're just adding it in now.
So the amended motion, or the,
We're good.
We'll figure it out.
so
You know what's
motion
happening,
by,
that's all I care.
second by Taylor to show the wash.
Show
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to crime prevention, item 8, number 18, page 18.
Which one?
That is 1065, page 10.
I'd move it.
There was a change, they moved a deputy over to here, is that correct? All right, so motion by Taylor, second by Raddick. Any other discussion on this?
I'm sorry, the 1020 longevity compensation we haven't used the last 4 years. Do we anticipate using it?
Is that under uniform patrol we're talking about?
Well, it's going to be used now because they moved a deputy into there.
That would be Lieutenant Garrett's longevity. that
Yeah.
he's in crime prevention,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Is there any other questions or discussion? All right, to receive, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes, or anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to item 9, courtroom security on page 19 and 20, which is 1422 for Dave.
Yeah, not, really looking through there, it's just the people that work upstairs.
So there's a supervisory moved over into that?
Right, there always has been somebody that's been supervising.
Was it just under organized employees before?
Yeah, what was it? It must have moved. Well, this is transport. Yeah,
If you add the two wages together and add the two over here, for their difference, it comes the same plus their wage increases. It's just classifying where they should be. Like that, to clarify where we're supposed to be from where we get it. Yeah.
Then hospitalization went down.
When you change employees, it can go from single to family,
Right.
family single. In this case, it's going to family single.
nothing in those.
So the motor vehicle, is that under transport then, or?
For their cars.
Cars.
Right, because you don't have a security car.
No, that's our transport. This is transport.
Courtroom and transportation.
Yeah.
This is courthouse.
Yeah, courthouse security is the other one.
This is
Oh,
courtroom
courtroom, okay, yep, sorry.
security. We had that discussion once before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two different,
Words mean stuff.
yeah, two different groups.
All right, well,
First page, field training pay was at a once every 3-4 years expense, and you're not requesting any.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't need it because everybody there is going to be there for a couple more years. Yeah, it's a contractual deal, so they're there.
nothing to worry anything with, so
I'll move it.
I'll second. Motion by Potabom, second by Raddick. Any other discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to number 10, courthouse security. That is, let's see, is that 2122? And 1430 in the budget book.
On courthouse security, we had $3,400. You see down there, or excuse me, longevity compensation. It's going to be $1,200.
I'm sorry. My bad. Here's the labor marshal, Jim.
Oh, we are?
Because he's in crime prevention. Willie's in crime prevention.
Oh,
We don't want to mess with that.
okay. So, pardon me.
Armstrong's longevity is coming out of it.
So we'll leave it as it is. That's
I'd move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Potabom. Any other questions on this?
commissary revenue.
Yep.
We know is untouched.
Next two basically are self-supporting two.
We got a vote yet. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. And on to the sheriff commissary on page 23 and 24.
Commissary is
The
not
wash.
touchable.
All right, I'll move it as
Second.
motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Prisoner room and board, item 12, which is on page 25 and 27.
Yes, board through, board money going in, the 40%. And the reason we're budgeting more than coming in, there's carryover funds coming across, so we make sure we budget it all, so they have the ability to spend it. No tax dollars involved here.
We're trying to build it up, though.
What all can this funding be used for?
There was a list of things, but all related to the jail.
So, like debt repayment?
I don't know that.
Like if you were to construct a facility?
Use money, I don't know about debt repayment,
You could use money to fix and,
for the construction.
yeah,
For maintenance?
yes, yep.
Okay.
Construct something, yeah, you can use that. And so our ultimate goal is to build that up to a nice nest egg. That's, we're not going to touch
Do we know where that's at in Iowa code or whatever that we can look?
Yes, I can get it.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, any other questions on this? I'll move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. No other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. Or I guess, anyone say nay? No, okay, 5-0. Moving on to uniform patrol, that's page 28.
That's all contractual there, it's all wages. Yep.
I'll move to receive it.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, I'll go second with DeWitt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Sheriff forfeiture, item, page 29.
That's filling out money, non-tax. He gets to use the forfeiture of ways he's fit.
I'll move to receive.
Second.
Simultaneous seconding. I'll move, let's see, motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. You're free.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys want to look at any embarrassing photos my mom took, it's my 40th birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
There's a photo album right back there. Yeah. You can-
Awesome. I'll keep comments.
I don't think there's any illegal activity.
Well, you're only 40. Yeah, some of those illegal activities.
So moving on to the supervisors, Hard Rock Gaming fees, page 34 through 36.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Ennis, how'd you come up with the number 459? Okay, 459 is using the estimate from gaming revenues of 76,800,000 times 0.05%. I have a running total since Hard Rock started, every month how much comes in, I'm basing off that right now. Hard Rock is down to 3 or 4 million for the current year, so we have to take a number there, so I took an average of the income coming in for Hard Rock times 0.05 to 384. Then 75,000 from MERS, where they made an agreement, they pay 1/12 of 75,000 every month. That's been constant since they started.
You feel, bottom line, you feel this is a good projection for
Yes.
next year? What's unencumbered from gaming revenue during that
Okay,
next
we go to
fiscal
gaming
year?
revenue. You're paying out 74,344 for part of the training center. We'll be covering the second full payments this next year, so we're 2.5 years through after this next year. On page 36, This is where we have Meals on Wheels, same allocation that you got this current year, we asked for $12,760. We have 2 regional transit systems, same amounts they asked last year. They all generate money, and that's one thing the board does look at. Do they generate money or just a donation? No, they do generate money. That's why they've been staying in the budget. So actually you have unobligated gaming revenues of $433,982. That's anticipating we're carrying over from the current year $95,000, which I feel confident it may be a little less or maybe a little bit more. We still got 5 months to go, but anything could pop up. So we have 433, it's unobligated.
I'd like to see us take 300,000 and dedicate it to property tax relief of that money.
What did we do last year? Was it 300?
300,000 is current year's going to general basic to help offset taxes. So it'd be the same thing, Jeremy's requesting the same.
Do we want to,
Now still leave you 133,000, still unobligated for next fiscal year.
okay. Do we still want to wait and see where we need to put that in as far as, are you just putting it as general tax relief, not?
Just general tax.
Yeah, I would say
Not
general
which
tax, and then we can,
levy we're-
yeah, then we can delineate later, but I think to start taking a crack to whittle this thing down,
So to delineate at wrap up, but 300,000 out of it now.
all right, I'd move that.
I'll second that. And Dennis, did we ever use that for equipment replacement?
Once upon a time, we did about 4 or 5 years ago, we had an equipment replacement one where we took gaming revenues, and I think maybe some lost money in there to pay for it. But back 3 or 4 years ago, we decided we don't need equipment, we're gonna put each budget so we know where it's at.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so motion by Taylor, second by Ung. Any other questions?
Those all included in there.
So they're removing 300,000,
From the unobligated to a transfer of revenue to general basic.
okay. Well, we haven't determined where, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll reflect that on sheets next week.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0, or, well, anyone opposed, I should say. Now passes 5-0. Summary of allocations.
Okay, on
So-
local option sales tax, we get 514,130. It's a little less than last year because the revenues are coming at that pace. So, and we're anticipating to carry over, I think, wait a second here.
So basically, we just voted A, B, C, and D all
Yes.
under that one there.
Shot.
Okay.
Yes. So now we're, the local option sales tax, that's revenue coming in on page 59. On page 60, I have in there 278,993 to rural basic for the economic development committee or department, and soil conservation 39,000. So that 317,000 are transfers that help reduce tax asking in rural basic. I already have those programmed in because they're the same as this current year. The only one that might change would be the rural economic development, community development. That's based on the budget submitted. If that budget changes down, we will adjust here down. You go to the next page is your allocations. On this, I have one correction here that I have the interstate justification report is 161,000, not 121. Because ours, you gotta count the shares from all the other entities plus our share. So that number there is included as everybody's share. Rural comprehensive plan, that was allocated fiscal year 2016, that's 93,530. Talking with Dave, that's still in process. We had a 3-year agreement with this company to do it, so we prefer that be left because we still got agreement to do that. Strategic planning, that's Sergeant Bluff. I think Sergeant Bluff, Mobile, and Saley, 7230. That's still obligated out there because there's still funds coming in for that, or requests coming in for that. Event Center, this will be our second year of 150,000. We obligated $1.5 million, we're paying 150 this year, and then 150 each year for the next 10 years. That's the Event Center. Siouxland Initiative, 25,000. That's a request the same as this year. Western Auto Tourism is $500. County Fair is $30,000. That's up from $27,000. Senior Community Service Employment Program, that's $10,474, same as this year. Joint City County Simcoe fees, where we share with them, $72.92, that's the same as this year. That's a 50-50 deal with each town. And then the Simcoe Improvement Regional Housing is the same as the current year. So there's a lot of allocations there. And if we do all those and the transfers with the revenue coming in, the carryover will be $70,969 from this current year carried over. We have it all spent. There basically isn't any unallocated funds at the moment, and that's subject to further review.
So in the past, with the initiative, we had what was the dollar amount for a staff person?
Pursue that initiative?
Yeah, was there not a, was it the workforce development position?
Well, that was last, I think that's like 14,000. They took that out because that's not there anymore, the way I understand.
But that was part of the 25,000 we gave last year, was it not?
Well,
or was,
that I can't answer that.
or did we give 39 last year?
We gave 39.
Yeah, I think that was over and above the Corey Menke position.
Right.
Yeah. You sure on that?
Am I sure on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe we did give them 39,000. We gave them 25 plus another check for 14 or 15.
Is there a way you can check on that?
Yeah, I think so. We gave them $25,000. Yeah, we gave them that. That's for the Student Initiative 2 TSI pledge. And one of these is it here or not? Oh. I don't see it right now. Current year, I know we gave 25,000. The year before, we gave more because we had the work employment. We had another deal where it was improvement, infrastructure improvement, and then 25,000.
All right.
Can we move these as a
Like
conglomerate?
we did last time.
Aggregate?
Okay.
I would move to receive all those divisions.
I'll second it. Any other questions on any of those items, A through G? All right, seeing no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It passes 5-0. Moving on to debt service fund, page 72 through 87.
This is all of our current debt. We are paying one debt off this year, I think around $750,000. I did anticipate a loan of $1,113,578 this year to cover our expenses for this year. There's potential. Jeremy's been working with Kenny on this a little bit, where there's actually $250,000 extra in there because there could be other projects come up between now and June 30th, and also possibly $250,000 of expenditures that won't be done this year. So $500,000. When you divide that over 5 years, it amounts to $120,000 savings if we only borrow $613,578 instead of the $1,113,578. Isn't that correctly? So we aren't saving $500,000 1 year because it'd be spread over 5 years. We're saving $120,000, which is $50,000. What I say? Well, it'll be 1/5 of 613 plus 4% interest. I think it's 100,000 plus 20. It'll save us 120,000 next year.
So what do we do down to the Nance rear end on what we would move to receive in terms of how much less it would be for debt service?
You'd move to receive less than 120,000 in principal and interest payments.
And that also accounts when we let the previous payment from the prior fiscal year in order to make mental health funding a wash?
Yes. Actually, we're reducing, with this 120, we're reducing
Even more.
by 900 31,000,
Right.
which helps offset other parts, mental health, basically. And that's what we anticipate doing anyway when we did our planning this current year.
I'd move to receive less 120,000 in principal and interest.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All right, motion by Taylor, second by Radig. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, passes 5-0. Moving on to Veterans Affairs, starting off with administration on page 3 through 5.
You have questions?
On the wages, we did split the organized, or wage plan employees to wage plan and organized. That's why you see it, from 0 to 45,000, from 133 down to 99.
Danielle, on mileage, 4130. Do you know where we're at right now in that? Maybe Dennis, you can help us out with that too. And then is that trips to go see different venues or cases or a combination?
It's for both schools and for outreach.
Okay.
Your update is $1,713.
Did you anticipate that increasing by, from what it's been in actuals the last couple of years, or so you're at 3,500, roughly 3,300, and this is going up to almost 4,500?
Some of it just depends on how many commissioners go to Des Moines for school and whether or not we can ride in one car for the service officers.
Okay.
I don't really know where we're at this point because we've only had one of those schools, which is in October.
But that's different from the travel expenses at on the next line, or?
Yeah, the travel expenses we use for airfare and hotel.
Okay, and you haven't used that this year, but do you anticipate that you?
Yes.
You will second quarter or second half of the year?
There should be hotel out of there. There's nothing out of there so far.
There's $1,973 out of there. That's paid this month.
So that's just for fall school, and we still have spring school and national conference.
Is that all really necessary school-wise?
Yes, it is. Our spring school is where we get our CEUs. Our fall school is where we talk about issues specific to our state and our counties. And then the national conference is the best training you can ever get. It's way far above what we can get in the state. So that's how we can do our best work, is if we get our best training. So I feel like it is necessary.
It's because the laws change or whatever
Yeah.
benefits change
Yep,
almost
the VA
yearly?
changes constantly, and we have to keep up to date.
I'd move to receive.
Okay. Motion by Taylor, second by DeWitt. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to IDVA grant, page 6 and 7. Looks like a wash.
Yep.
All right.
In and out.
I'll move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by everyone else. Okay, I'll just say DeWitt, sorry. And then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to assistance, page 8. Looks like the same as last year.
Yeah.
I'll move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any discussion, any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right, we didn't have any set times. Does anyone want to take a break, or you got?
I was just wondering, we have a representative from the fair, if he wanted to make any comments or was waiting in the wings or not? Is that all right, Mr. Chair? Sure.
Randy Hayward, Woodbury County Fair. As always, I try to come up and say hello and thank you to you all, because I know that you probably don't get a lot of appreciation for everything you do for the county, not alone for the fair. But I don't want you to ever think that we take for granted the support that you get there. And we encourage you all to come down, and I know you kind of individually from being up here every year, and know that you're pretty nice guys and actually have some charm, and I think that the general population should probably find that out as well. And just wanted to tell you thank you for everything that you do. So, quick to the point.
All right. Go Hawks.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say? 5 minutes? Yeah, we don't have any set agenda
5
times,
minutes.
so.
Turn your mics off.